So today we are going to start a new topic, which is articles. We often see usage of articles in basic common conversation, or maybe in any written conversation or basic verbal conversation. We see the importance of articles because articles are they are similar to adjectives, because adjectives actually qualify the noun. In the similar way, articles also helps us in giving additional information about noun, and it brings the context of it adds an extra value to the noun so that the person understands the context of it. So the articles which you know are a and the. These are the three things. So these days, so far what we have done is we have covered the topic and then we went on to the examples. So today I am actually going to show you some of the examples, and then we'll get into the topic just to understand things. So here I have noted down some of the examples, and we'll see if they are right or wrong, and then we'll get into the topic. So starting with first one, an unit. Can anyone say if this is right or wrong?
It's a unit, right?
Yeah. Okay, right. So basically, some people get confused, like usually English alphabets are divided into consonants and as well as their consonants and vowels. People think that if there is a vowel, they think we have to put an. If there is no vowel, we'll put a. So actually, it is not depending upon the letter of vowel letter. It is mostly depending upon the phonetic sound of the vowel. So here in this case, as I mentioned, it would be a unit, not an unit. So we'll go to the second one. It is the USA. Can anyone say if this is right or wrong?
That's correct.
Right. So the third one is the China. Can anyone say if this is right or wrong?
Here the won't be there.
Right.
So in USA, it's like, so the first, it starts with United States. Right. So
right.
That's where we say the.
Right. So usually for countries, we don't use the in the beginning. In case if you have to use with, that depends upon the context if what we are talking about country. But in general, if while we're referring to countries, we don't use the. But in case of USA, we are using a. It is because it is not just called as a country. It is called as a union of different states. Even though China, India, all of the countries are also the union of states. But in case the wording is such that United States of America, even in case of UAE, United Arab Emirates, or different things, so they are basically talking of union of different things. So in such case, they are not just called as a country. So that's why we use the in that case. So we'll see fourth one, and university. Can anyone say if this is right or wrong? So basically it is a university, not an university. The reason is, even though there is a vowel here, university is called, if you observe the sound, university, it is not talking about university, it is saying as university, which means the sound is a consonant sound. It is saying you has a consonant properties, not a vowel properties. So that is the reason why we use a university, not an university, even though it has a vowel, but the sound with which it begins is not a vowel. It is a consonant property sound. So that is the reason we use a. And we'll see now the fifth one, 5A, 5B. Here it says, this is the pen. This is a pen. Can anyone say which of it is right or which of it is wrong?
I think it depends on the context.
Yeah.
Right. That's absolutely true. So it depends upon the context. So if anyone asks, hey, do you have the Parker pen? You might say, hey, I have the pen. So here we are saying the pen, I have the pen. So basically, I'm not talking about any pen here. I'm talking about specifically to one pen, which is a definite article. So the helps us in understanding the noun. It gives the context of noun. It gives more clarity on the noun, which one I'm talking about. Here in this case, if anyone asks, hey, does anyone have a pen? Then I might say, hey, I have a pen. I'm not saying I have the pen. I'm saying I have a pen. So basically here what I'm saying is, like, I have a pen. It can be any pen. It can be a Cello Faster pen, or it can be Parker, or it can be Reynolds, or anything. So in case of earlier thing, the other person has asked specifically the Parker, and I'm answering to that person. So The is a definite article, a or an is an indefinite article. We'll get into that, and we'll see the final example here in this case, which is he is an MBBS doctor. Can anyone say if this is right or wrong?
Looks okay only.
Right, it is correct. Right. So the reason is not just for the names, even for acronyms also, if it is starting with the vowel sound, it becomes an. We can use an in that case. So here, because we are not talking about anything specific, using an MBBS. MBBS, the word MBBS starts with A. A is a vowel sound. So that is the reason, even though there is no vowel, even though the word is not starting with a vowel, but the sound is vowel sound, the phonetic sound vowel is there. So that is the reason we have used an in this case. So with this, we'll look into the articles topic more specifically, more detailed, and we'll see some common mistakes which we can avoid by getting deep into these topics. So basically, what is an article? So we would have seen in the earlier topics that adjectives are actually helps us to qualify or modify the nouns. It gives more information or more clarity on the noun. Likewise, an article is also a kind of adjective. It also gives more specific meaning or brings the context to the noun. So in English, there are the articles are broadly divided into two types. One is the, and the other one is a or an. So depending upon the situation, depending upon the phonetic sound, we use a or an interchangeably. And so if we say there are two types, and the is used to refer to a specific or more definite noun, more particularly if you're talking to anyone. So someone has brought a topic about a noun, maybe a thing, a place, a country, anything, and we are talking to that specifically related to the same context which the other person has referred to. So it becomes a definite article. So then we use the. In case if we are talking about anything random, anything like generic words, we are not specific, we are very non-specific, and we are not particular about that particular noun. In that case, we use a or an. So that is the reason why we call the a definite article, which means very specific, which we are talking about, and a or an indefinite article. It is not specific. It does not refer to a particular thing. It refers to anything. So we'll see some rules with the usage of articles. Here, if you see, if I say, let's read the book, which means I mean a specific book. What exactly this means is someone has talked about a book, maybe some Atomic Habits or some other book, something like that. And the other person has said, let's read the book. So here, the context through which we have to understand is, in case if we are use the, which means I'm specifically talking about a book which the other person has taught. If I say, let's read a book, which means I am not sure which book I want to read. I am still not yet specific, or I am not yet figured out which today I am going to read, but I am sure that I am going to read a book. So I'll say a book, any book I can read. But in the above example here, let's read the book. It gives more specific direction to which one I am referring to. So it becomes definite article, and a and n becomes non-definite article. So if you see the second one, that's what it says. And if you see the another example, here the person says, I just saw the most popular movie of the year. So usually we, in a year, we'll see Oscar awards, some other Filmfare awards, or different kinds of awards being given to most popular movie, best choice for critics, or something like that. So if I say I just saw the most popular movie of the year, I mean there is only one popular movie of the year, and I'm specifically talking about that movie, and I'm saying that I have seen that movie. So I'm not saying, hey, I have seen a movie, I will see a movie. That's not what I'm saying. See, I'm specifically related to a movie which has been given a title, popular movie of the year. So usually there are many movies, and I'm specifically talking about this movie. So that is the reason we use the, it is definite article. It is talking the noun, popular movie of the year. It is specifically talking about that movie. So that's the thing. In case if I say I would like to see a movie, so I'm not yet sure which movie I'm going to watch. Which movie I'm not sure which movie I'm going to watch, but I'm sure that I'm going to watch movie. So here the article or the which we use is a, because the noun is not yet sure. The noun is not yet been figured out, and it can be anything. It is not specific or focused on one particular thing. That is the reason why we use a. And in these articles we'll specifically talk look.
Sorry, just 1 minute, if you can just go back.
Yeah.
One more thing I would like to add on the third point. So the most popular, right? So the word most is what we call as the superlative degree. So, you have like bigger, biggest, smallest. And whenever you use the superlative word, that is the biggest or smallest or most, best, whenever you use these kind of words, it is always the before the word. It is never a best or a biggest. It is always the best, the biggest, the most, like that.
Right. So in case of comparative or positive degree, is it going to be the, or is it going to be different sign?
Yeah, that is usually we don't use the word the over there. So for example, when we compare two things, right? So this is an easier level to complete. So in those kinds of sentences, we use a or an. We don't use that.
Okay.
It's an easier book to read, like that.
Right. Correct. Yeah. Understood. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Thanks for that.
There also, I think there are some certain exceptions. So let's say if we are just comparing just two things, okay? You can say this is the easier of the two. This is the bigger of the two, like that. So a lot of that depends on context, and just learning the rules might not be sufficient, but just look out for the context.
Right. So just to add to what Sai has mentioned, so if we say I have just completed an easy, maybe easier, if we take these things as easy, maybe the positive degree, easier maybe a comparative degree, maybe something we'll get into the hardest one. So in this case, basically a noun is something, and just before the noun there is an adjective. So actually that thing is covered in the coming slides, but I'll just give you a small information on this. So whenever we are talking specifically to a noun, we'll use the, and if we are not specific about the noun, we'll use a or an. There are certain cases where in case just before the noun we'll have adjectives as well, like easy or hard or something which gives more broad information, more specific information about the noun. In that case, whatever the vowel, whatever the adjective starts with, in case if it is non-specific, if it starts with a vowel sound, we use an. If it does not start with vowel sound, we'll use a. So either we take the noun's phonetic sound, or we'll take the adjective just before the noun, that's phonetic sound. There are examples which are mentioned in the coming slides. We'll talk about it then. So just to continue from where we are left, so I'll now specifically talk about articles a or an. So as I said, basically a or an, both of them are used for non-specific and non-particular nouns, or non-specific or non-particular adjectives. And basically the primary objective, how they are used, what are the rules they are used interchangeably is, whenever, if we broadly divide all the English alphabets, we have 5 vowels like A, E, I, O, U, and we have 21 consonants. So whenever the noun or adjective starts with a vowel sound, not with the vowel letter. So here the context is about having a phonetic sound, having the vowel sound, not the vowel letter. Because many cases, even though the letter is vowel, we don't use an. Even though many cases when the letter letter starts with a consonant, but we still use an. So basically the reason is we use it depending upon the phonetic sound, vowel sound. So if you see, if the first letter makes a vowel sound, we use an. If the first letter makes a consonant type sound, we use a. We'll see the examples. So if you see here, in this particular example, A is actually talking about certain different things which has consonant properties. So here the cat, dog, all the things, they have consonant properties. They are not starting with the vowel sound. Here if you see a cat, a dog, a purple onion, a buffalo, a big apple. So if you see the starting sound of all these particular words are actually consonants, not the vowels. And if I go to the next one, and if you see here, an apricot, is actually talking about one of the vowel sound, a. And if you see an egg, so it directly gives the E vowel sound. An Indian, it is also giving an Indian E, so it gives a vowel sound. An orbit, so it is also giving an vowel sound. So that is the reason we use a or an. And there are certain exceptions here. So sometimes we use I've been working since an hour, or I have seen the most honorable judge in the Supreme Court, something like that. So even though the word is starting with H, but the sound is not starting with H. So sometimes H becomes silent in certain situations. That depends upon different context. So whenever the H is silent and the next to H, if the word is starting with the vowel sound, here in this case it is an honorable piece. It is not honorable. An honorable, so honorable is giving an vowel sound. That is the reason we use an honest error. So it is also talking about this thing. And if you see, error is the noun, honest is the adjective. So the adjective sound is starting with O, honest error. So here we are using an. So whenever H is silent and the second letter or the sound which with that particular word starts with, if it gives a vowel sound, we use an. So these are the exceptions for a or an. And we'll see some other examples here. So sometimes even though we have a vowel letter a word starting with U, but we use the sound Y. In case sometimes where we use it, we'll see this. So if you see a union, even though it is starting with U, we are not saying union, we are saying union. So the phonetic sound has a vowel properties. So that is the reason we use a union. Even though it is starting with a vowel, we still use a because the phonetic sound is not vowel sound. Here if you see a united friend, it is also saying U. It is giving the sound of Y, Y-O-U. So, and if you see a unicorn, it is also still giving a consonant sound. A used napkin or a US ship. So both of them has this thing, what we say, consonant properties. So that is the reason. And here also a one-legged man, A-E-I-O-U. So still it is also giving a consonant property sound. So that is the reason why we use A here, not Y. And if we talk about some other examples like European. European starts with E. E is a vowel. But when we say European, it is not giving European, it is giving a sound European, which still gives Y sound, which has a consonant property. So even though it is starting with a vowel, but the phonetic sound is European, which means Y. So that is the reason we use a European, not an European. So one thing we have to keep in mind whenever we are talking about non-specific or non-particular things is, if the noun or the adjective, are they starting with the vowel sound or not? If they're starting with the vowel sound, we use an. If not, then a. And we have to see if the particular adjective or the noun, is the first letter silent or not. If it is a silent, then what is the phonetic sound which it is starting with the second letter? That thing we have to see. Through which we can easily identify a or an. So that is the thing. And here if you see, we have just divided the whole sentence or the whole context with which we say a or an into different types. If you see here, a plus singular noun beginning with a consonant. So if you see boy is a singular noun, we are not talking about boys. So I'll talk about plurals. So whenever we have plurals, how we use the different types of article, but in this case we'll talk about singulars. So if you see a plus singular noun, whenever there is a singular noun and it has a consonant sound. So here if you see a boy starts with ba, and a car, a bike, a zoo, a dog. So all of them are singular nouns and all of them has a consonant sound. So that is the reason we have used a. And if you see here, an plus singular noun. So here also the noun is singular noun and they are giving a vowel sound. So you see an elephant. Elephant gives an vowel sound. An egg directly, elephant and egg directly gives vowel sound E. An apple, it still gives apple vowel sound A. An idiot, it gives I sound. An orphan. So all of them are singulars and all of them has vowel sound. So that is the reason we have used an. And if we move on to the third one, here if you see, here also we have singular noun with a consonant sound. So if you see in both of the examples, the first letters are not the vowels here in this case. In the second case, the first letters are vowels. So it becomes easy in such cases to put a or an. But if you see here in this case, it is a singular noun. It has a vowel, but the sound is not vowel. If you see a user, it sounds like this viva was ADR, user. So it is not saying user. If it is a user, it becomes an, but in English, user is pronounced as user. So it gives a consonant sound. So that is the reason we use a user. And if you see, the same goes with university, a unicycle, even though it is starting with vowel, but it has a consonant sound. User, university, unicycle. So we have used a. So that's the thing. And as I said, there would be certain situations where H becomes silent, honor, like honor, har, such cases. So here, if you see, H is silent and it gives a vowel sound, an R. So we have used an. And there would be certain situations like H is not silent. H is properly pronounced, horse. And as we know, horse is directly, it does not give any vowel properties type of sound. It gives straight consonant sound. So that is the reason we have used a horse. So it becomes easy. So far we have discussed about a or an. We'll now discuss about, we'll continue that and we'll start the definite articles. So here to continue with the a or an, here if you see the second example, my daughter really wants a dog for Christmas. So basically a person is saying that her daughter or his daughter really wants a dog for a Christmas. So they are not specific about a dog, but like it can be any dog. She just said, I need a dog. She did not say anything like I need a Pomeranian dog, or I need a pug, or I need a Lhasa or some golden retriever or something. The noun is not specific or not direct or not definite. It can be anything. There are so many number of dogs, and her daughter just said, or his or her daughter just said a dog. So this does not give any adequate information on the noun. It is not specific or particular. So this refers to any dog. So that is the reason we have used a dog in this case. And if you see in the third point, somebody call a policeman. So the moment we see it, we can understand that there is something unexpected or something happened which could be controlled by a policeman. In such a situation, anyone will say, somebody call a policeman. They will not call this policeman or call that particular, because policeman is what they needed. So it can be any policeman, anyone who works in the police department, not specific or not direct, or the noun is not definite here. It can be anything. There are so many number of people in a group, and it can be any one person who can do that. So we are not specific about it. So that is the reason we have used a policeman here. And if you see the last example, when I was at the zoo, I saw an elephant. Here we are talking about, we went to the zoo, and in the zoo usually we see there are so many number of elephants will be there. The person is saying that I saw an elephant. So it can be any elephant. So they are not specific about the elephant. Suppose in this case, if there is an elephant which is very famous, maybe that helps the police people, or that helps that is very famous across the area. Sometimes we see that there will be special tigers or special animals which are famous with their names and this thing. And if the person directly refers to that elephant, they have just seen the Gujarat elephant, then you will say da. But here in this case, if it is not specific, it does not give any adequate information on the noun elephant. So we have used an here. So whenever we have a singular noun and which is not specific or not direct, then we use an if it has a vowel property sound. So that is the reason. So with this thing, I will end the topic today, and we'll continue the topic in the next session.